deserve at least the respect due to them at the beginning of the relationship. Let them prove that they're not the peacekeeper before you prejudge that they are not. So the message has got to be over and over again. Better communication skills for all officers, a different mindset for this entire culture, less quick judgment to go to force immediately unless it's absolutely necessary, and some level of understanding among everybody that we're all just trying to get through the day. Police officers, Black America, Gay America, Latino America, middle-class white guy just going to work and somebody screams at him from his car. We're all trying to get through the day. And when we can get back to that message, we're going to be much better off than where we are right now. There's going to be a lot of screaming in the next few months. This isn't going to go away anytime soon. But it will get better. It can get better. I believe that. Okay, so I got on a long soapbox there. And I'm really sorry. But it may be good for me to just shut up for a minute and y'all ask me any questions you want to, and I'll answer as many as I can. If I know the answer, I will.
I don't want to ask a question, but I want to make a statement. Okay. I'm the mother of a Black young man that I raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was consistently harassed by the police, and so were many, many, many of his friends. He happens to be a good kid, and he was an athlete in high school. He was stopped all the time because they thought he was carrying drugs, or that's what they said anyway. And I got scared to death that they were going to plant something on him someday too, you know, because he was a good dresser, and so that's why they always stopped him. And I just want you to know how hard it is for a mother to talk to her Black son and say, I don't care what they do to you. I don't care how they treat you, what they say to you. You have to be polite because they can hurt you. Okay? And it was something that they lived with every single day. And I lived with every time he came home late. You know? Mm-hmm. So he's in his 40s now. So, you know, he made it with no felony convictions, which is unusual for some of the young Black men that live. And I still have two grandsons who live in the ghetto in Philadelphia who are now 16 and 13. Their 16-year-old cousin was killed a couple of years ago in a crossfire of a gang fight. So you know that things are still pretty bad in the urban areas.
Yep.
So, and they've got a lot more Black policemen there than they do around here, that's for sure now, because they're trying to balance and get some things. They got a new Black police chief. You know,
that's a whole other issue, and that is recruiting Black police officers. It's very difficult to do in America right now. And part of that is cultural, that the police are not your friends, and if you join the police force, you are not my friend anymore either. And that is a real struggle for me because it's been a good profession for me. I've learned a lot from it, I've grown from it, and I've gotten to do great things. And I try to convey that. But it is a hard sell sometimes. And you know, in this area of the world, it seems to be even tougher.
Well, my grandson in Colorado Springs Police Academy is not white.
Outstanding.
He's biracial, but you know, he doesn't look white for sure.
This past year and part of 2013, I met with Mayor Jordan about developing ways to recruit African American police officers and firefighters. And one thing that we did, we reached out to the HBCUs, which are historically Black colleges and universities, and we gave them information about the test and how they can become an officer. The problem has been, and I don't want to say problem, but one of the issues, taking the test has been complicated for a lot of minorities, and that has proven to be a problem and a challenge in other professions as well. So I do know that locally here in Fayetteville, the relationship that I have with Mayor Jordan, I know that he is welcoming, and I've had the same conversation with Chief Tabor as well. So I do know, and I'm very safe to say that I know that overall with the Fayetteville Police Department, I know that your whole mission is to protect and serve everyone, and we do appreciate that. And I've had this conversation with many members of the African American community. I have not been harassed, and maybe because I'm not in certain places, I don't know, but I haven't been in Fayetteville. However, I have been in other places. And the Arkansas Delta, where I'm from, is totally different. But I do know that in Fayetteville, I do know the culture of the police department overall is to protect and serve. And I do think that when we did the workshop at the U of A with Chief Tabor and Chief Gahagan, that message was made loud and clear to the university students and those others who attended. So I do believe that this is a message that I think that what you just said, getting that message out to the African American community, particularly in Fayetteville, because we're perhaps more educated than other places in the state. And when you communicate the way you did, we get it. We understand what you're saying. We understand that your job is to protect and serve us, but also you have to protect yourself as well. But I do think that a part of this that none of us have an answer to, and that's the racial part. And it's beginning impossible to separate the two. And I don't think that it's fair for Black America or Latino America or gay America to put the blame with the police department. I mean, they're poor officers, they're poor teachers, but I do feel that with the racist, with what's happening with the racism, I think it's bigger than the police department. And I think that the moment that something happens, then when it happens to an African American male, immediately, as a Black man, when we hear about it, we get upset. Because we're not looking at what he could have done. We're looking at the fact that a Black man was gunned down by a white man who was in control. And that's what we see, and that's what we act upon. And that's not fair, but society has, that society has dealt us their card. So you're right, we have to tell our African American boys, hey look, you know, basically, instead of saying the police, that they are friends of ours, sometimes you almost have to say, don't trust them. And that's not what we should say. But what is, because of society and what has happened in Sanford, and what's happened with Mike Brown, and what's happened in other places, that's the message that we're telling our children. So I said all of it to say this. And locally in Fayetteville, I do believe that we need to have the conversation to reassure members of the minority community that the mission of Fayetteville Police Department is to protect and serve everyone. And that with that happening, sometimes you may get some casualties, you may get some misunderstandings, but the overall goal is to have a dialogue that the Black community will be able to trust and to have a relationship with the members of the police department. And I do believe that on a larger scale that hasn't happened. And being in Fayetteville, we are more, when you're educated, you look at things differently. Now, if you go to some other part of Fayetteville and you get an African American that has had a history with the law, no matter what you say, he comes in, he can say, I'm here to protect and serve. All they see is a white guy with a gun, a police officer. They're ready to hurt you, honestly. I mean, that's what's going to happen because that's what they see. They don't see him as someone who's able to protect and serve. But however, if you can get those African Americans to understand and to have a conversation with you, the message will trickle down into the majority of the community. I mean, you're still going to have those knuckleheads who are totally anti-police. But I do believe that if we have effective dialogue and the way that you just spoke with us, I felt your passion. I know that you are concerned about providing safety and security for all of Fayetteville. I just wish that other members of the African American community will have the opportunity to hear what you have to say and to provide feedback so we can move beyond this in Fayetteville.
Yeah, well, I agree.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things I